Hey there, this is Nick, and this is an update to my Kickstarter campaign called Ciao Bella Farina, a wood-fired pizza trailer here in Mobile, Alabama. Today we're going to make some cheesy humor and some fresh mozzarella cheese, so let's get to it. All right, we're getting ready to make cheese. Fresh mozzarella cheese is a very easy cheese to make. You only need a few ingredients, and most of them can be purchased in town locally. If not, you can get them on Amazon, or cheesemaking.com is one of the larger online cheese making supply houses, and their ingredients are always very fresh. So all we need is whole milk. This is 1 gallon of whole milk. That's going to make about a little under a pound of cheese, fresh mozzarella cheese. If you can get unhomogenized, but if you do get homogenized milk, that's fine. What we're going to do to still allow the calcium to stretch is, because when you homogenize milk, the protein loses its ability to stretch and form big clumps. And so the only thing we're going to do to offset that is add a little bit of calcium chloride, which is just pickling salt. So you can get this at any store. Every store carries pickling salt. It's just calcium chloride. So we need a gallon of milk. We need 1.5 teaspoons of citric acid dissolved in a half cup of water. And I'm using spring bottled water, unchlorinated bottled water for all of this. So 1.5 teaspoons of citric acid dissolved in a half cup of water. And 1/8, because I'm using homogenized milk, but it's not ultra pasteurized or anything, I'm using 1/8 teaspoon of calcium chloride in a quarter cup of water. And then for flavor, we use lipase. Lipase is a cheese enzyme that is normally found in baby calf stomachs. It helps them digest the milk, and it makes it taste better to them. But this is vegetarian lipase, so this did not come from a baby calf stomach. So we're going to use lipase. Lipase is what's going to give mozzarella its flavor, and it really kicks in after about 24 hours in the refrigerator. The mozzarella will really have a lot of flavor with the addition of lipase. It's not required, but I like to add it to mozzarella. And then what actually makes the curd separate is an enzyme called rennet. And again, this is vegetable rennet. So this isn't a fully vegetarian recipe, obviously, because we're using milk, but all of the enzymes that we're using are vegetarian. So the first thing we have to do is get our milk to the first temperature. This is right out of the refrigerator, so it's pretty chilly. It's about 34 degrees. So we're going to add the entire gallon of milk to our cheese pot. The cheese pot is just a clean, sterilized stainless steel pot. There's nothing special about this pot. Just the fact that it is stainless steel is what's important. So this is a gallon of milk. I am using organic milk from a local store. It is homogenized and pasteurized, but it is not ultra high temp pasteurized. UHT milk will not separate and will not make cheese. So the first thing we have to do is get our milk to about 55 degrees. So we're going to do that fairly slowly. So right now it's about 48 degrees. And we're going to get that up to 55 degrees, and then I'll come back and show you what we do next. Okay, the milk has come up to the first temperature, which is about 55 or 60 degrees. We just want it to warm up enough for the citric acid to start changing the pH. So the reason why we add citric acid is to lower the pH or raise the acidity, which gives the mozzarella its stretch. So the rennet we add takes away some of the calcium out of the protein, which makes it less likely to stretch. So the citric acid helps the mozzarella retain that protein and helps it make nice stretchy mozzarella. So we're going to add that first. This is a teaspoon and a half of citric acid dissolved in a half cup of water. Now it will go ahead and start to curdle because that is an acid. The next thing we're going to add at the same time is our calcium chloride. This is just a tiny, like an 1/8 teaspoon dissolved in a quarter cup of water. Continue to stir that. And then we're going to add our lipase. This is the enzyme that makes the mozzarella cheese taste good. We're going to stir that very well, and then we're going to bring So we're going to stir this real good, and then we're going to bring this up to 88 degrees Fahrenheit before we add our rennet. So give me just a few minutes to bring this up, and I'll be back. All right, curd nerds, the milk has now reached 88 degrees. It's starting to curdle a little bit, but this is what actually does all the magic. This is the rennet, the enzyme that we're going to add to it next. So at about 88 to 90 degrees, we're going to add the rennet. We're going to stir it in well while we're doing it. And I'm going to continue to stir this for about a minute, and then I'm going to let it reach 105 degrees for the next step, which is where we let it sit until we get what we call a clean break, where the cheese actually curdles. All right, we're at 93 degrees already, so in just a few more minutes, I'll come back and we'll be ready to cut the cheese. All right, curd nerds, let's take a look. So this has been sitting for about 5 minutes with the heat off, and the curd has formed very nicely. So it's a nice solid mass in there. We're at about a little under 100 degrees. It did continue to warm up a little bit. So we need to now cut this into cubes. That's what I meant by cut the cheese. So let's gently slice this up into cubes, and then we're going to continue to heat it up to about 105 degrees Fahrenheit. So you usually don't need to do this. I probably didn't need to cut it today because the curds are nice and loose, but if you have a solid curd, you will need to cut that up so you can get the whey out of it. So the next step is going to be to heat this up to 105 degrees, and then we'll take it over to the sink and we'll start draining it and getting ready to stretch our mozzarella. So be back in just a minute. All right, we're up to about 105 degrees. So we are ready to drain the whey off of our mozzarella and get ready to stretch it. So what we're going to do is we're going to drain the whey through a cheesecloth to capture all the curds. And if you are really health conscious, you can actually save the whey and drink it. It makes a great drink. You can also cook with it. Anywhere you would use milk in a recipe, like for cornbread or breads or any type of baking, you can use the whey. You can boil pasta with it. So the whey is actually quite nutritious. It doesn't have a lot of flavor. So I generally just drain it away and let it go down the sink. But if you don't want to waste the whey, you can certainly use it for a nice health drink or something else. You can even make cottage cheese with it. So what I've got here is a cheesecloth and a colander in a bowl. And I'm actually going to take this over to the sink, and we're going to pour the whey through the cheesecloth, collect all the curds, and then we'll start draining the curds, get the whey out of the curds, and get those ready to stretch into mozzarella. So give me just 1 second and we'll be over by the sink. All right, we're back, and we've got this up to about 105 degrees. So we're going to drain this through some cheesecloth and a colander and get ready to stretch the mozzarella. All right, perfect. So here we go. And again, you don't have to waste this whey. It smells good already. It smells kind of like butter. So I'm just going to gather up the cheesecloth. We don't have to press a lot. We just need to just gently knead it, or just kind of handle it. Actually, just handling
the curds in the cheesecloth is going to get a lot of that whey out for us. So I'm going to knead this for just another minute, and then we'll get ready to put it in the microwave. Get ready to actually turn it into mozzarella. So I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, our curds have been draining for just a minute, nice and firm, and that's because we put the calcium chloride in there into the pasteurized milk. Otherwise, this might be a lot sloppier and I might have to scrape it out of the cheesecloth. But this is the curd now, and I'm going to plop it into the, I suppose a little bit big, but it'll work. I'm going to plop it into a Pyrex bowl. I'm going to microwave this. Now this, if you have sensitive hands, you might need to put on a pair of gloves for this. My hands are pretty tough, so I don't need to. I'm going to pop this into a microwave for about 30 seconds, heat it up, give it a little feel. If it's not quite ready to pull or stretch yet, then I'll pop it back in for another 30 seconds. So just give me another minute and we'll pop this in the microwave and we'll get back and we'll add some salt and stretch our mozzarella. All right, this is about a minute in the microwave. You'll notice it's still got some whey being driven out, which is what we're trying to do. We want to get rid of as much of the whey as we can so we have a nice, firm, solid, dry cheese to go on our pizzas. So it's not quite ready yet. It's fairly warm, but if you'll notice, it's not starting to stretch yet. So I'm going to just press it just a little bit. Again, I'm not really squeezing it. I'm just kind of handling it to get some more of that whey out. And now I'm going to pop this back in the microwave for another 30 seconds, and then we should be ready to stretch. It should start forming. How we know when it's ready to stretch is instead of being kind of grainy like this, it'll start to get smooth and shiny, and that's the point where we know it's ready to stretch, where it'll actually start stretching instead of breaking apart. So back into the microwave for about 30 seconds, and then we'll be back. Well, I guess I went a little soft over the winter because I had to go put some gloves on myself. This got a little bit too hot. So we've microwaved it a total of about 3 times now and kneaded in between each one. And we've got a pretty nice dry ball of curd now. It's still not mozzarella. So back in the microwave one more time to really heat this ball up and get it to the phase where it's stretchable. So last time, should be the last time, and I'll be back here in just a few seconds. Okay, we're at the stage where we are ready to stretch, and so it is quite hot and it's almost there. So before we do, we're going to add a teaspoon of kosher salt. So this is going to give a lot of flavor. It's going to add to the stretchability. So I'm just going to knead this in. I'm going to sprinkle in a teaspoon of kosher salt. We're not getting any more whey out. We've got the salt incorporated. So back into the microwave for just a few seconds until this actually starts melting to where it's ready to stretch. It's almost there, but not quite. So back in for just a second. Oh yeah, now we're perfect. We're ready to go. So all right, nice shiny skin here. See how shiny it is and smooth, it doesn't break apart. So what we're going to do is we're going to form little balls. I've got ice water here, and I'm going to form off little balls. I'm going to pinch those off. Nice and shiny, turn that under, and then plop them into the ice water. So I'm going to form this under, nice and shiny. There we go. We don't want to overwork it at this point, which I'm almost getting ready to do here. We see it start flaking out. So we're going to go ahead and form the rest of these balls and get them in the water. turn those under where they're a nice shiny ball. Beautiful. And let's see, we'll probably, let's get one more. This will be the last one. I'm going to kind of seal that up underneath. Start to cool down a little bit on me, so we'll make this the last one. Nice and sealed up there, nice and shiny, and into the water bath. So this is now our mozzarella. It's ready to eat now, but because we added lipase, we want that to basically cure, not long, I mean it is fresh mozzarella, so we want this to cure for about 24 hours, and after 24 hours that lipase will have had a chance to really do its magic and make this really flavorful and delicious mozzarella. So that is fresh mozzarella. We do plan on making fresh mozzarella in the Ciao Bella Farina pizza trailer. If I wasn't filming, this actually only takes every day. This would only take about 45 minutes to make 10 pounds of mozzarella. So we do plan on making fresh mozzarella and having it available in the trailer on pizza. And I appreciate your time and enjoy. Ciao.